Kerri, welcome to Creatives Rule the World. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this and not gonna lie, nervous. And I'm normally not nervous, so
It's all good. Yeah, we're just going to have some fun here. So, Kerri has been a longtime student of mine. She has taken many of our classes over at Flourish and Thrive Academy, and she just graduated from the Art of Reinvention program. And she is in addition to being a jewelry designer, she's also a trichologist and is kind of changing the world of hair loss in her own way. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit more to Kerri about her journey and how she's shaping trichology.
yeah, it's a hot topic. So
It's a hot topic. So, how did you get into this, first and foremost? Let's dive in there.
okay, well, first and foremost, I am a master level stylist. I am a red seal, and I've been doing hair for pretty much most of my life. And I didn't really know what trichology was for a long time, and except for like a brief module in it when I was going to hair school. And when I had a client come in with trichotillomania, and I was also going through a struggle in hair loss myself at the same time, is when I learned what trichology was. And I realized there was a huge gap between dermatology and general practice and cosmetology. And I dove in, and it's been a game changer since, and it's been my world. And so it's essentially the bridge that connects cosmetology and dermatology, and
Hmm.
nobody connects. And so that's kind of where it started.
Well, so tell us a little bit about what trichologists do.
Trichology is the paramedical practice of hair loss and scalp issues. So we get to the root of the problem. Now, with trichology, there are various sectors in trichology. There's general practice, hair transplants, naturopathy, functional medicine, quantum medicine, and cosmetology. Now, the thing is with trichology, well, fun fact actually, barbers were the original surgeons. So, and hairdressers were like the original in the medical field. And
Oh,
then
really?
yeah, and so the barber pole actually represents the veins from blood cutting. And so,
Oh.
yeah, and so trichology just kind of got lost, and people don't really realize that hair is an essential biomarker. And so, a lot of people have been incorporating this into their practices. And you'll find that a lot of people will go, if they have hair loss, they'll go to their doctor, they'll go to their dermatologist, but some of them don't just do a lot of studying in hair loss. They capitalize as just one type of hair loss when there's a number of various different types of hair loss and causes of it. And then there's also no connect between cosmetology and the hair loss, because thing is hair loss is about stopping the hair loss and then regrowing the hair loss, but they don't know how to nurture it. But then we
Right.
know how to nurture the hair, but how do we stop the hair loss from happening and how do we grow it? And so trichology is essentially bridging those gaps.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. And so, when someone comes to you and they're experiencing hair loss, like what's your process to identify what the root cause of the hair loss is?
Yeah, well, first it just starts off with like a short consultation, whether we need to do a full assessment. An assessment takes about an hour and a half for us to do the deep dive and the real questions. We're essentially the detective to figure out where the root of the problem is starting. And a lot of times with hair loss, people want that quick fix. But hair
Mm.
comes from within. And so when you're dealing with hair loss and you're doing the quick fix and you're not getting to the root of the problem, yes, it'll fix it temporarily, but not long term. And so trichologists, we get to the root of the problem, find out what it is, and it could be a various type of reasons why you're losing hair loss, and we figure it out and help you solve and resolve for long term.
What are
Yeah.
some of the common, so I just did an epigenetics test. Do you do those too?
Yes, I specialize in epigenetics, and that's my niche. There's a lot of people who have different various niches in trichology, whether it be transplant, functional medicine, trichology, or dietitian, but mine specifically is epigenetics. Now, the reason epigenetics and trichology are so tightly tied together is because typically majority of hair loss is caused by a stress and a stress
Mm.
trigger. And stress is not just like, and I get this commonly, I'm like, people come in with a type of hair loss called telogen effluvium, and they're like, I'm not stressed, my life's good, blah, blah, blah. But when you're living in a chronic state and you don't know what you don't know, or you're used to living a certain way, you don't know how that's affecting your body. And that's how it shows up in your body. And the first thing to go when your body is struggling or stressed, whether you're dealing with mental health, physical health, or emotional health, the first thing to go is your hair and your nails, because the body turns off the nutrient supply to the hair and the nails. It gives it to all the other organs that need it more. And so that's why we lose the hair. And so with epigenetics, we figure out and pinpoint exactly where that stress trigger is coming from. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next one is trauma or residual stress. So stress that hasn't been addressed or triggers essentially. So like, maybe a bad boyfriend, you put it in the closet and you forgot about him. And then 20 years later, you run into a situation that brings you back to that version of yourself with that bad boyfriend. That will trigger stress.
Mm.
And then the fourth one is physical stress. And the physical stress, obviously getting into an accident, but it'll also be how you carry your body. So for example, like if we're on our computer and we're sitting hunched over and we're looking down, we could cause blockages in the circulatory system to cause blockages with how our oxygen goes to the brain and so forth. So there's a whole plethora of that. And that essentially, it wasn't a big topic in trichology. It's a big one that we're really bridging right now, and it's really coming to the surface.
Can you recap those topics?
Yeah,
Okay.
for stress,
Yes.
there's four.
Four. Sorry.
Intake stress. So anything your body absorbs and consumes.
Okay.
Okay.
Intake stress. I want to write these down. Okay.
Yeah. Intake stress. So anything your body absorbs, consumes. It includes food, medicine, bio or waves, like sleeping with your cell phone,
Ooh.
Wi-Fi, all of that. It's all measurable. So I do a lot of stuff on Wi-Fi and so forth. And the next one is emotional triggers. And so that's everyday stress. And then the third one is emotional or triggers or like residual stress. So stress with like core values, ethics, or maybe something that happened to you as a child, like
Yep.
trauma, that could trigger you that you haven't addressed and fixed. And it's important to work on that because if you don't address it for 20 years and then it shows up, which commonly happened during COVID, and that's why there's also another spike in hair loss during that time, is
Oh.
because people actually had to sit in their shit. And so that's triggering, and that could cause episodes of alopecia areata. And alopecia areata and telogen effluvium are the two stress inducers for hair loss. And there's more than one type of alopecia. So when you go to a doctor and they say you have alopecia, what kind of alopecia?
Mm.
There's more than one type. Yeah.
Okay. Fourth is.
And the fourth one is physical stress. So that
Okay.
it could be, an injury, but it could also be how you commonly carry your body. So slouching over time, sitting at your computer, causing blockages in the circulatory system, all of that. Or
Okay.
tight, like if you're really stressed, you tense up.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is you cause blockages for hair or for your body, for the circulatory system. That also is a physical symptom too.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So intake stress, emotional triggers, residual stress, and physical stress. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. And so then you were saying that you jumped into epigenetics because you needed it
Yeah.
for your cancer treatment.
Yeah, well, I have a rare livable blood cancer called essential thrombothemia, short-term ET. So we joke I'm an alien. And it's literally managed by stress. So
Okay.
it's a livable chronic cancer, but if I'm not managing my stress, it could turn into worse situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And so you're using epigenetics to heal that,
Yeah, to manage it.
to manage it.
It's
Okay.
yeah,
And so,
there's no cure for it, except for a bone marrow transplant as of right now, but you can manage it. And I found a lot of people who are not doing it, they just kind of put in the flag and they're like, and now all the symptoms are happening and they're getting lymphoma and leukemia and everything. And those that are actually practicing everyday self-awareness and self-care and stress management, we're
mhm.
thriving and we can live a normal life, but it's managing those stresses. And so I've done a lot of work on stress management and preparing myself. So, my dad passed away 3 years ago. It's quite common for someone after a big loss to lose a lot of hair. But
Right.
because I understand epigenetics and hair, I made sure I really did the work to make sure that it didn't affect my health and my well-being.
Right. Right. That was a stressful time for you, I'm sure. So
Very.
sorry again.
Yeah, we lost my grandpa that time and my uncle who was missing. We found him, and the day we
Okay.
found him is the day my grandpa passed away, and then 3 months later, my dad. Yeah,
I'm
it was a
so
lot.
sorry.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
And we had a lot of other stuff on top of that. We got frauded. Oh, it was
Oh gosh.
2022 was a bad year.
I'm so sorry.
And
So
what
tell
doesn't
me,
break you makes you stronger, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So tell me a little bit more about for people who are wondering how do they get like an epigenetics test? I recently had one because my friend
Mhm.
Shauna does epigenetics too, and we were at a mastermind retreat together. She's like, "Oh, I can do this test," and she was getting her trichology license. And so I did it
Oh,
and
you'll have
I
to
got the
introduce me
test
then.
back and it was like don't eat goose and like some other random things. And the two things that it said do not consume for me are coffee and wine and peanut butter, like three of the hardest things. And so I guess I'm gonna have to.
Is that the cell well-being test that she did where
I
she
have no
pulled from the
idea.
hair? Okay, so yeah, so
Oh
with
yeah, they plucked
epigenetics,
some hairs from the back.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because I do that test too. Now, epigenetics cannot just be measured by one system. Epigenetics is a full philosophy. If you want to learn really more a lot about epigenetics, Dr. Bruce Lipton is a phenomenal speaker on that. He's essentially the grandfather of epigenetics. He's the one that
Mm,
studied the cell and realized that the membrane is the energy that creates and you creating those energies. So epigenetics isn't just scanning the hair, it's being aware of your body and really checking in. And that's why I'm always talking about self-awareness as your currency. Because if you're aware of the energy you're putting out or drawing in, that's
mhm,
epigenetics. Food is
mm,
just part of that. And food, and especially in this day and age where we're in a pandemic with poor quality food, is we got to make sure we're serving our body with the quality food for us to thrive. Because if you're eating food that's causing poor gut health, and we look at the gut as a second brain, if
mhm,
your gut is under stress, that affects how your brain and the nutrients are distributed to the body, causing hair loss, stress levels, depression, you name it. And so it's important to understand your body and your personal DNA and how you're feeding it. Because if, say, you're celiac or you have an angry gut that needs correcting and you're eating all the nutrients, you're just going to literally put it in and poop it out. And so
mm,
that's where that part comes in. So that's just that part essentially just measures the intake stress part of epigenetics. But the overall other parts of epigenetics, which Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about, and he has this one book, I highly recommend it. It's funny because I had a friend push me for years to read it, and it was called The Honeymoon Effect. And I have a very great marriage. I have a phenomenal marriage with my husband. And I'm like, I don't need this book. Why would I need that? Like my husband and I are awesome, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't anything about the honeymoon effect. It was, or about honeymoon relationships. I was talking about the honeymoon effect. So essentially, you know how when you're in a good mood and you like everything good is happening, like you start dating someone new and everything good happens.
mhm,
Because like attracts like, you're putting that energy. So all this positivity energy is coming to you and all these good things happening is because you're putting that energy out. You're creating that ion that creates that positive
mhm,
workflow. But then when you're angry and you notice when shitty things happen and it just snowballs and it keeps coming and coming and coming, because you're creating that negative energy too, and it's drawing like a Drake's lake. And of course, negative shit's gonna happen because you're not aware of the energy you're putting in and putting out.
mhm,
Which also aligns my jewelry, and that's why I'm always talking about intention setting is being aware of the energy you're trying to draw in or put out and help you correct that. So,
mhm.
yeah,
Cool. Okay, I
yeah,
love that. And everything is energy, right? It's like I've been talking a lot about how, you can either be in fear and operating out of like that kind of fearful competition energy, or you can be creating and operating out of manifestation energy. And it is a different. I feel like creation energy is the thing that really attracts the things we want in our life, right?
exactly. And also too, like another one, which I'm a part of a peer group that we're observing kids and hair loss because we're noticing an increase in hair loss in kids. And we notice that
Oh,
it's
wow.
because they're chasing dopamine over purpose. And so when you're creating these dopamine addicts, it's causing an effect in their anxiety and their stress levels. And there's another really good book, and it's essentially talking about that whole chasing dopamine over purpose. And of course, when we start getting into stress management and stuff, we are so addicted to the dopamine and following Facebook too. We are losing discipline for ourselves to focus on our purpose as well.
Hmm.
So it's not just, the energy work, it's also being aware and having the self-discipline of getting the high off the purpose versus the dopamine hit, right?
Right,
Which
right.
is epigenetics.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about you and your pivot and stepping into your purpose. So tell me a little bit about where you were pivoting and why you decided to join the Art of Reinvention program.
My biggest thing, so I am ADHD and dyslexic. I was diagnosed in the 80s. So you could kind of know how we were treated back in the 80s, 90s during that era. And I found I lost who I was because I was forced to be put into a box that I never fit in the first place. And then when I was in that box, everybody told me to be different and stand out when I had already been doing that. And then when it came to where I was trained to fit this box and then came out of the box, I didn't know where to go. And I was trying to fit all these different systems. And even with my jewelry business, my other businesses, I was fitting a system that didn't fit me. And I lost myself. I started getting really depressed. I was all over the place. And you know me, I felt like I was 100 ping pong balls in a room and doing everything. And I know I have a lot of multi-venture activities and stuff, but I'm like, everything fits together, but how does it fit together? And I just feel like utter chaos. And watching you over the years, you're a multi-venture too, and you see things differently and you're creative. And just the way you speak with things, I'm like, you know what? They always say go to the people who are like you or who you want to be like.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? When I explain to people what I do, they look at me like I'm pure chaos. And when you had this program come up, I felt like you were speaking to me and you could help me articulate and put it all together and help me find me again.
Mhm.
And it was funny because I've made friends with a couple of the peers in your group too, who also helped me see a lot of things that got me trapped in belief systems that were I wasn't even aware of them until
Mhm.
it got brought to the surface and realized the type of person I am and why I need to be doing this and how it fits. And you literally brought me back to me and not the way society trained me to be.
Mm.
And
Love
another
that.
cool thing too is like my dad had always told me to come as you are, and he's always pushing me to be how you are. And my mom actually went back to school to be a teacher to help me in the systems, to help give me the tools and use tools so I could thrive in school. And I honestly never felt I was smart till I was 41, which is I could tell you after this, because in the systems that we were raised in our society, I was treated like the idiot or, the person who didn't know what she was doing. And it's funny because when I do get stuck or lost in my way and you have those signs, the song Come As You Are from Nirvana always
Yeah.
plays. And I'm like, or my mom, there I have a little sign that shows up with my mom. I'm like, okay, yes, come as you are, step up. And then when that program came up, all the signs kept going, talk to Tracy, do this.
Mm.
Yeah, so and it just kind of snowballed. And it's funny, since I've been finally able to articulate and put everything together and find that common authority in it all and realize I like my strengths. And with my strengths, I never really thought myself as a thought leader or a leader or anything. I just thought I was that creative person in the back that just does crafty things and stuff. And when you really helped me figure out and see me as the leader and creative, other ways that I'm creative too, I was like, wow. I'm a pioneer in a lot of things and I've got to own it, and that is my gift, having everything that I have. And since then, literally all these opportunities have been snowballing. There's more since you and I have talked.
Why don't you share what those are? What's been snowballing?
Yeah, well, in the trichology industry, we find that there's a huge disconnect. Everybody's trying to do all their things on their own and nobody's connecting. And I'm a natural coder. So I also went to school for marketing because to be a hairdresser, my mom suggested I had business and I learned I was really good at coding. And it's funny because epigenetics, everything is like coding the body. And so I build websites. I'm really good at building systems and websites and engineering things to work together. And it just really draws me. And I'm really good at bringing people together. And with the trichology, I found nobody was working together. I'm like, why? And so I started noticing that we all have this umbrella of understanding of trichology, but we're all in our own sectors.
Mm.
Cosmetology, dermatology, dietitian, all that. I'm like, we need to come together. So I designed this website and it's a hub to bring everybody together.
Oh,
And I'm like,
great.
nobody's going to be wanting to be part of this. And oh my gosh, like my new, and I'm also moving to a new medical clinic too. And she was in Dubai in Japan. And she told me my name was a hot topic there.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what? She goes, yeah, everybody's talking about you, Sergio Basan, and this website because you guys are bringing people together. I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And so out of a whim, I was like, you know what? I'm going to message these key players in trichology to see if they want to be involved. And I spread it out. I gave myself 2 months to book them out. Every single one booked me within 4 days.
Wow.
They canceled plans to talk with me because they want to be a part of this, because they see what I'm doing and all of them want to be a part of it. So it was really cool to see that I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right
Mhm.
thing to connect people. And I'm doing it where it's a collaboration over competition. I'm not in it for the money, which there will be, but the thing is mainly bringing everybody together. And all these opportunities have been flying in the door. And it's now giving me time to leverage to what I want to do for my bigger picture. And yeah, that's just one of the pieces. Like it's snowballing and all these opportunities. And it's just when you're in the right place and you're in alignment, they say things will fall into place. They
Mhm.
weren't kidding. It's
Yes.
aligning and snowballing in the right places and
All the
leveraging on so many
opportunities are
levels.
coming.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So, What would you say to someone who has been thinking about making a change or they're feeling a little bit out of alignment in their business and they've been considering the art of reinvention? What would you say to them?
You know what? The re art and reinvention, I highly recommend, especially if you're somebody who's pivoting, changing careers, or don't know how to articulate what you do. And there's so many of us too who are multi-passionate and do a lot of stuff, but how do you make it work and fit together? And what's the common denominator? And for me, with the whole program, it helped give me clarity and it gave me an anchor to bring me back and connect all the pieces so they worked flawlessly together, systematically rather than separate. And I highly recommend you doing it because it just gives you clarity and helps you observe. And we change
Right.
over years. I'm not who I was when I was 30 or 20. I'm 44 right now. And so I have a different version of me and I'm coming into a different version of me. And you help me see that new version and reconnect with 44-year-old me. And it just do it for the clarity and to know who you are. I didn't really see myself as a leader, and holy cow, the tests and stuff that you showed me,
Mhm.
it gave me a different perspective to see me and find myself again. And I gave up on myself to fit into society's system when the thing was for me to be a pioneer in a new.
What's your human design?
Oh, I can't
Are you a
remember
six
what they
two?
are. I can't remember all of them. I'm
Okay.
so bad with all of those. Wait, I have it here. Human design. I'm a generator. Yeah, I'm a generator, but you did another one, and the
What's
other
your
one,
what are the numbers in your human design?
profile 6'2".
Yeah, I was gonna say you said you're a pioneer, so I was like you're probably 6'2". Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, like literally when you did all those tests, like it all was 100% accurate. And then you did the one with the storyteller. And I love writing. Writing is my favorite thing. I actually had one of the highest essay marks when I graduated high school, but I never really pursued writing. And it was funny because one of the tests you did, you talked about being a strong storyteller and a strong writer in one of the other tests that we did. And when I went back and looked at a lot of stuff, I'm like, wow, I do know how to talk. And for so long being
Yep.
dyslexic, I always struggled communicating. That's why I'm so good at writing, because I could write it and take the
Mhm.
time. But when I'm speaking and I trip over my words being dyslexic. And so with that, it just was like, wow, that's my tool. That's my superhero power. I'm able to put things together and yeah.
I love that. So, for people who want to learn a little bit more about trichology and the work that you do, where should they connect and like what's the best way to stay in touch?
Built a website called The Hair Wire, and the front of it is everything hair education. And we're giving the correct
Okay.
information about hair loss. Right now, we're adding key collaborators or contributors. So it's in the process of being built, but the basic meat is there. But it breaks down all the various types of hair loss and scalp issues and gives you a starting point to figure out. Because with alopecia, when you go to your doctor, oftentimes, like you have alopecia and they give you one treatment when it's deeper than that. And there's more than one type of hair loss. And so you want to get to the root of it. So go to the Hair Wire. It's going to give you all the information and a way to connect with us. And we do a YouTube channel once a week talking about the various types of hair losses that you can do. But we are growing it. So we are bringing the experts in each of the various types of hair losses. And then if you're wanting to take trichology, you can log in. We have a members area called the Faculty of Trichology where we're connecting the hub. And right now we're adding all of those entry-level programs for trichology to bring and bridge that gap.
So would
And
that
then
be for hairdressers or is that for regular?
anybody, hairdressers, in trichology, we have naturopaths, nutritionists, dietitians, we have it all. So if they want to get in there, if they want to figure out how to get accredited in trichology, we are launching an accredited trichology program in September. So if they want to do that, they will be able to take that there, or we could point them in the right direction and then help them build a career on that. And in our back end, we're offering business programs, career development, business development, all of that in there. So it's just being added slowly, but it's going to be a huge game changer for the industry and for the hair industry. We hope to change the hair industry as we know it and raise the bar in the hair industry.
I hope
Uh,
it's not too late for me. Just
oh
kidding.
gosh, it's never. We
I
had
mean, these
one
are
where
hair extensions, let's be real. It's not my real hair.
I've done hair extensions for years, like not myself, I do them, but we use hair extensions to teach people how to grow their hair with the extensions too. So there's a lot of workshops. I'm actually working on a hair growth program for the general public on ways to grow their hair sustainably for the long term, because we're more about vitality versus vanity for hair. And so that's all coming. And they're hairdressers that used to be stage educators that are putting this together. So it's really cool.
I'm going to ask you a really random and silly question. Two things.
Yeah.
Do the hair loss shampoos actually work?
That's a long, in theory, no, they do not. They will because they will stimulate the hair growth, but a lot of times they're giving you exercises to go and do the scalp massaging and full exfoliating the scalp. And usually the hair growth to stimulate the hair growth starts with a clean scalp. And so if it is something to stimulate, but if you're not doing all the other work, no. It has to work in combination with the way you're eating, scalp health, scalp massage, all of that. It's a bigger picture. So
So you have to massage your scalp and get one of those brushes and stimulate it and clean.
yeah, and just making sure you have a really clean scalp. I find with extensions, a lot of people will stretch doing their hair. Hairdressers tell you to only wash once or twice a week. It's mainly because they're protecting the color. But as a trichologist, we prefer you to wash every first to second day because you want to nurture a clean scalp. And just like a garden, if you have poor soil, you're not going to have a good garden. Same with hair growth.
I
So
have
there's a
to wash
good
my hair every couple of days because it gets a little greasy, but that's good to know
yeah.
though. So,
Yeah, and if it's getting greasy, it could be because you're dehydrated. It could be stress. There's a couple different reasons, and we do a lot of scalp health stuff too. And especially with climate, if you are too oily and you're dehydrated, or maybe it's the climate you're at, and you could also create a type of acid that could kill the follicle too. So there's a lot to it. It's a science, and it's not a one size fits all world. Trichologists are trained to do the detective work and to find out
okay.
everything. And yes, with a lot of those, you see those ads where they're like, oh, I took this pill and it gave me great hair loss, but it's temporary. And the thing is after 6 to 8 months or a year, when you start to use it, you could cause toxic liver overload. You could cause damage to your body because you're taking supplements that you don't need that could become toxic over
Mm.
time. But the root
So
thing is to
the gray hair pills don't work.
gray hair pills, no,
I
no.
have so many of them. I bought them a long time ago. Jason was laughing at me. He's like,
Well, and the
I'll
gray
just
hair pills, usually it's because there's a disconnect here in the stress and the protein synthesis, and it starts with the protein synthesis to create the melanin in the hair to create that protein. But I also have seen people firsthand. One of my coworkers, Joffrey, he had 85% gray after going through a lawsuit with the salon. And when he started doing stress management and stuff, it's now 65% gray. So you can get color back because stress
Oh, you
will.
can, because I'm like 100% gray.
You can. Yeah, you can, depending on the stress level and genetics, of course, obviously. Like there's a whole science behind it. But even myself during COVID, I have pictures of it. I'll have to find it where I had gray in certain spots. And then it was funny because I actually had roots with color hair and gray on the end. So it was like color and then gray to prove that I was growing it back.
Oh,
Um,
wow. That's interesting.
yeah, and it was stress because stress could cause gray hair, cause hair loss. Is a contributor to a lot of things in hair loss and scalp health.
So a guy can grow his hair back too if they're balding.
Depending on what type of hair loss, yes. So depending on the type of treatments. And right now we're finding too, so traditionally we hear commonly about genetic hair loss. And with genetic hair loss, there's male pattern, female pattern. But a new study coming out of Italy from our friends is that there's also a stress-induced version where they're using different treatments. And the stress is the hair loss, which mimics genetic hair loss, is actually from stress, from us being tense all the time, causing restriction on the follicle, essentially suffocating the follicle, causing an increase in hair loss. And
Wow.
so
Okay.
they have new treatments for that. So when in North America, Canada, and the US, we're very behind in hair sciences. We're the furthest behind. And that's why I do a lot of my studies in Europe, and a lot of people we partner in Europe is because we're so advanced in the research of it. And also too, I'm on a research team as well. So we're constantly researching stuff. And here, a lot of times they'll say, well, if you have miniaturized or explanation hair, well, we're even finding doing microscopy work that, if you have telogen effluvium, which is hair loss due to stress, and if it goes too long, when the hair starts to go, well, the hair is going to look miniaturized when it comes in because the follicle has essentially seized. And so it's coming in but growing and looking like explanation hair or the miniaturized hair, which we commonly say if you see it, it's automatically genetic hair loss, which is becoming a fallacy too. But that's science. And so with trichology, even with my hair wire program in the Faculty of Trichology, we're creating a badge honor system where people will have badges to give to credible trichologists to prove that they're updating their science. Because I find too, a
Mm.
lot of times in hair or medicine or trichology, people get their accreditation and then they're like, I'm accredited, I know everything. But we're scientists. We're constantly evolving. And so we're going to hold people accountable to that and show that integrity for people who are actually doing it. So yeah, trichology and hair loss has come a long, long way.
Okay, this conversation is so fascinating. We could go for hours, but we're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna transition right here. So if people want to learn more about the hair wire, they go over to the hairwire.ca,
Com,
or is it .com?
dot
.com.
com. Yeah, it's
Hairwire.com.
international. Yeah, international.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing.
And if they want to talk to me specifically, they could find me at kerrijarrett.com. I am Canada, but I try and serve Canada. But if it's anything trichology, otherwise it is the Hairwire. And they could go in there and they'll find the link to the membership or to be a trichologist on there as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today, Kerri.
Thank you for having me.